Playas, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of Playas Guide. On this episode of Playas Guide, I'm going to be covering the state of N64 collecting. So I'm going to look at all the major titles and a few popular titles just to see where prices have gone. Because from what I've seen, the N64 has just been going nuts lately. And I wasn't really expecting it to take off as much as it has over the past year. So let's have a look. Okay guys, so I got price charting up here. I like using this site. I've been using it for over a decade now. It's a great site. I think many of you use it as well. So we got N64 here, and as you can see, I mean, this goes way back. There's like probably around the time I started using price charting. And you know, we talked about the nostalgia factor and when it kicked in and prices started going up, and that's over this time frame right here, kind of in the middle of this chart. But look at this. It's kind of past the nostalgia factor where it sees that boost for the console, and the games are just apparently have just skyrocketed over the past 3 years. And this past year, so summer 2020, just after COVID sort of hit there, it saw a huge boost, and then another huge boost for 2021. So yeah, let's take a look here. So right out of the gate, we could take a look at many of the popular titles, because the Nintendo 64 is a pretty well-established collection for collectors. We know what's rare and uncommon. We know about, I think, all of the different variants for the different games. This one here surprises me. Turok Rage Wars Grey. And maybe this is something that we're going to find out. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but some of the variants maybe haven't gone up as much, because most people tend to focus on just the main library and the basic releases of most games. That's what most collectors do. And then, you know, if you're really passionate about the N64, you'll start getting into some of the different variants and promotional items, things like that. So Turok Rage Wars Grey was a game that was sent away to get repaired, and then you had them send it back. It's very rare. This is a very rare game. Maybe more rare than Sculptors Cut even, which is at the top here. It says $900. We'll take a look at that one in a minute. But I feel like it should be worth a little bit more. It's definitely gone up. We can take a look here over the years, because there was not that long ago it was like a $200 game. Yeah, so here we go, $200. So it's definitely taken a big jump here, but I don't know, in terms of its rarity, I think that it's really rare. That price should have probably gone up over time more and more. So if you were fortunate enough to pick it up at $200, I think that we'll see the Turok Rage Wars get a little bit more attention in the future, and it'll continue to go up. Now, Sculptors Cut, a quick eBay search here, shows 5 copies, all listed as by it now over $1,000. Whoa, that one. Okay, I'm looking at Canadian prices here too, except for this one. This one, forget about that. These bootlegs out there. But yeah, all listed well over $1,000, whether it's Canadian or US. It's an expensive game now, and it's another one it will go up. Even if this is the peak right now for N64 collecting, some of these more rare titles like Turok Rage Wars Grey and Sculptors Cut, they're gonna continue to go up for a while anyways, I would think. So the second rarest game, according to my rarity guide that I released and still believe in, is Super Bowling, and that is reflected right here on price charting, falling slightly below Turok Rage Wars Gray. Stunt Racer, I don't know. I've never thought that this game was as rare as people consider it to be. And a $500 price tag is a little bit shocking to me. To be honest, this Super Bowling game is shocking to me because I picked up a CIB copy with part of the manual. I think it might have just been like the cover torn off and like a page. So it wasn't a complete manual. It wasn't, I guess I can't really say it was really CIB, but it had the box. I ended up selling the box. I think I might have just thrown away the paper cover for the manual and the inserts that were there. I kept the game, but I picked that one up for $12. That was a long time ago. This was probably like 2010 or something like that. So to see this game jump up to a $600 loose cart, where is it here? Super Bowling. There's some buy it nows. That one's $7. And I'm talking, I bought it for $12 Canadian. It had all this stuff. Was that the manual? Is there not like maybe it was CIB then? Is that guy listing that as CIB? Box only. Yeah, okay. No. So that's what I had, a box only copy, but still my box had a tear in it, a little tear on the back bottom there, but to see that going for over $1,000 is it's a bit jarring because I never thought I would see the day and then be making like a YouTube video talking about how these games have gone up. We'll get to this Beast Wars Transmetal in a minute because a lot of this is kind of shocking to me. Like Stunt Racer. Stunt Racer was one that I didn't think was all that rare. Like I thought it was rare, but not like top 5 rarest N64 games or gonna be super expensive one day. Here's the listings we have right now. They're all well over $500. Because even just doing the currency conversion in my head, these $750 games and $680 games are going to be still over $500 US if you want to scoop one up off eBay right away without buying it now. So a lot of this stuff here that you look at on price charting, some of these buy it now sit up there for a long time. Like if we're looking at the Stunt Racer game, for example, like it says 21 results. Now we know that some of these are not legitimate results, but it's readily available if you have the money to put down on a copy of Stunt Racer. And most of them, like that one's not great, has a little nick there, but a lot of them look like they're in pretty good condition. I think the one I got, well, that one not so much, but the one I got was had the Blockbuster, the clear Blockbuster sticker over it, and you can't take those off. We'll take a look here at Stunt Racer 64. So I think I got mine in like 2013. That price there looks probably similar to what I bought it for, but here in September of 2016, it took a pretty big jump there. Over $100, and then it kind of tapered off a bit, but then it didn't really lose that much value. It kind of held the value, and then just gradually climbed up, and then this past year skyrocketed. So I can't tell you what triggered that. I wish I knew. Obviously, you know, some forum and some other YouTube channels somewhere said, hey, this game is really rare. I always thought of it as like a Beast Wars Transmetals, Daikatana, like on Armageddon, on that level of rarity. But obviously the majority of people think that it is much more rare and worth much more money than that. So I think that's what happened. It looks like this was the trigger point around here. It just shot up. And yeah, it went back down, but it's never been like a $20, $30 game again. And it never will be, because people are invested in this game. They're not gonna let it go for nothing. Okay, so Bomberman, Second Attack. This is actually a great game. A really good one that I enjoy. I'm not great at the Bomberman games, but the Bomberman series on N64, I enjoyed these games. Even though I wasn't great, it was kind of like you got to go through an adventure and stuff in these games, which was good. So there's quite a few copies of this available, and this is one that I know it's rare, but I always see it at swap meets, conventions, not so much game stores anymore, but I remember going into a game store that had 2 copies of this game, and then going to another game store down the street that also had a copy. And for the longest time, this was a $40 game. Let's take a look where it falls here on price charting. So I would put that up there in one of the top 5 rarities. So there's some different neat stuff here. Development kits, some different variants. So I could be wrong about the variants. Maybe people are recognizing some of this stuff in the not for resale has really gone up. No matter what, N64 has gone up right across the board. Here we go, Bomberman Second Attack. So yeah, here's what I'm talking about. For the longest time, it was around a $40 game, and then slowly climbed, which is expected. Nostalgia factor. Maybe that's something to do with the nostalgia factor brought Stunt Racer up, but it seems odd that it would have such a high jump. So yeah, nostalgia factor kicks in right around 2015, 2016, which is, you know, reflective of the price chart and the trends we've seen for most consoles once that generation of gamers that grew up with it get to like their mid-20s, then the games all seem to go up because they want to buy back their nostalgia. And then it cooled off. So this really reflects the main chart here on price charting, right, for N64, where it kind of kept going up. I don't want to say cooled off, but it wasn't going as crazy. And then the pandemic, around the time of the pandemic, just skyrocketed, which is what happened with Bomberman's Second Attack. Worms Armageddon. This one has obviously gone up, but not too crazy. This is a very rare game. It looks like there's, well, you know what? There's all these fakes on here, and they don't. It's a good thing this label doesn't look the same. Well, this one does. I don't like that. I don't mind when people get creative and they do like fanfare cartridges that are like a different color with a neat label. You want to have that in your collection, that's fine. But these games that want to look similar or replicate an original copy, I'm not down with that at all. So yeah, it looks like there's really only 3 legit copies right now on eBay, which is fair because it's a rare game. That one is I had trouble finding that. I think I ended up buying that one online, just because I knew it was kind of undervalued and underestimated in terms of rarity. But again, that's something that I thought that didn't necessarily reflect the rest of the community. It definitely went up over the years. Like you could see, it went from like a $40 game or whatever up to about $100. Gradually got there. This one, here's a nostalgia factor here, 2016. Started to climb, doubled in price. Then, similar to Bomberman's Second Attack, cooled off a little bit. Went back down. This would have been the best time to buy right here. And then now says it's what, 250? Well, the buy it nows are about $100 more than that on eBay, but this is also US versus Canadian. So, currency. So that's not that bad. That one is not that bad. I mean, we're looking at Super Bowling and Stunt Racer. I feel like this is a more rare game than Stunt Racer, and it is like half the price if you wanted to pick it up. But that's just me. I know a lot of people, you can argue that in the comments below how you feel about that. International Superstar Soccer. Here's one that I actually thought maybe would have been in like the top 5 rarest games. And I don't know if it's because it's a sports game and people don't care about it, and they're not buying it. But you could see that this game's still pretty cheap. This was always 40, 50, maybe 60 for a copy of this game. It's a rare game, but this is one that I still believe is very undervalued. Reprinted label, get that out of here. Yeah, look at that. So it looks like there's only 2 legit copies. There's a lot of glare here. I can't make out how good that label looks, but that one looks like trash. And they're asking almost 100 for that. This looks like it might have some wear or something. How come the zoom's not working? Okay. Well, regardless, it's there we go. That's not a great looking copy. For whatever reason, a lot of copies of International Superstar Soccer 2000 are in horrible condition, and I don't understand why, because it's not a game that it's not a game that I play often. I don't think many people would play it. So, generally games that don't get a lot of play are usually in better condition, and this game is really hard to find one in good shape. So, I mean, pick that one up. It's a rare game. I don't want to say it's a good game, but it's a rare game that I really feel is undervalued. Adventure. Guys, if you're not already following Playas Guide on Instagram, consider doing so. And also, here's a tip. And you might already be doing this. Follow your local video game stores, or video game stores that you like to visit. They don't have to be local. On Instagram, if they have an Instagram, because quite often they will post different games that they get in for sale. A lot of times the rare items that come into the store, they'll post on there, and they'll end up selling those items right off Instagram to people. So when you go into the store, unless you call ahead to ask them to put it aside, and you'll be there in an hour or whatever, then they sell pretty quick. So it's a good idea to follow those places, because you can get in on some pretty good deals if you're on Instagram. But also, for me, I saw this one today on Instagram, and I was blown away, because this is one that I thought was an undervalued rarity, and for the longest time we can see that it has been. It's gradually climbed up in price, but I never see this game in the wild anyways. Online maybe it's a little bit easier to find, but I hardly ever see this one. The Mystical Ninja, the first one, I see all the time. Goemon's Great Adventure, I never see. This is actually a really good game too. And now, I guess people are recognizing it. Here's when our pandemic hit, and it's gone up, like, I think I saw it at the game store for $150. That's Canadian. So, $120 US. It's a pretty significant jump here. Will it come down? Probably it will come down a bit, but I think it's still got some space to climb a little further. It's one worth having in your collection. So let's take a look at some of these other lesser known rares, I guess we could say. So we got Ogre Battle 64. Again, this was one that was like $30 to $40 for years and years. Fun game. If there's not really many turn-based RPGs like this on, it might be the only one actually. There's Quest 64. It's really hurt Nintendo, I think, that the Super Nintendo had such amazing RPGs and then the N64 didn't. But this one kind of satisfies that itch a bit if that's what you're looking for. But it didn't do it for a lot of people for a long time, I guess, because it just jumped over the past year and it like tripled in value. And this is what I found shocking, was that a lot of these games just boom jumped, because the nostalgia factor is right around here. So what, the game went up like $10. It's one I do see from time to time, but yeah, this is what blew me away. Some of these games that are just boom jumping up so much in price. Conker's, no surprise that one has been climbing for years. Looks like it cooled off there a bit. There's lots of copies of this game, but it's a great game if people want to play it. So, and it is kind of uncommon, right? Like, it's not a common game that you just see all the time. But part of that is because of the demand for this game, right? It's not rare. It just has a lot of demand. And now it's over $100, which, you know what? If you didn't buy it then, I mean, the foresight to see this game becoming a $100 game in the future, you know, it was inevitable. You know, we knew it was going to happen. So Beast Wars Transmetals. Let's look at this one, because I saw this on eBay and was like, what the? No way. Buy it now. $1,000. This one's CIB. But yeah, not too many copies here. $200, $200, over 300. Seems like these guys are asking a lot in comparison to price charting, but I think some of those $200 copies will sell. This game is going to be over $200 soon. No problem. Okay, so let's go back to the list. I'm just going to take a look at a few more things. I got Daikatana pulled up here because this one was recommended by eBay to look at, and I was like, wow, that was a $20 game. Most of us collectors who've been, you know, collecting for a while and know about the N64 knew that this game was a rare or uncommon, but it sat. Let's find it here on price charting. So here we go, down here, Daikatana. Pull that up. I do want to look at a few things here. Rocket Robot on Wheels. That's a tricky game to find. You don't see that too often. Duck Dodgers, I don't think is that hard to find, or Mega Man or Star Soldier. Maybe now because collecting for this console is so popular. Harvest Moon 64. This was shocking too, because I always thought this one game was kind of rare. According to this, it really hasn't gone up in value at all. Carmageddon, Hydro Thunder. Hydro Thunder Gray. So the blue is the common. The gray I thought was one of the rarest variants. So that's some of these different color variants people aren't wise to, or they don't care about them, because that should be worth a lot more considering its rarity. Yeah, anyways, here's regular Hydro Thunder. That one's gone up. That's not a game you see too often. Yeah, there's a lot of games here that, you know, StarCraft 64, Paper Mario, they haven't gone up that much. I don't know why. Let's take a look at StarCraft, because this is another one like Harvest Moon that I thought was pretty hard to come by. But if we look at it here, you know, the game's always demanded a premium. It's never really gone, like, I shouldn't say it hasn't gone down, like, but the price has just kind of been steady, right? It's gone up a little bit now, but I'm surprised that some of these other games have gone up so much, and, you know, Harvest Moon or Paper Mario, StarCraft haven't gone up as much. So StarCraft has had a gradual incline, but nothing like some of these other games we're looking at. So this is a bit shocking to me too, that some of these games have just skyrocketed in value over the past year, and others that, you know, are on that level, they just haven't at all. So here's Daikatana. This was a game that was cheap, and I guess it's been a gradual increase for Daikatana. So that's kind of neat to see. There's just been a natural demand for this game. I didn't think it was that great of a game, but I guess people must think of it as being pretty hard to find, although it looks like there's lots of copies available. I'm not seeing too many fakes. I do see some imports, but yeah, that's neat to see. I wasn't aware of that. Okay, so wrap things up here with a few more, a couple sports games. The PGA Tour, I used to see this one quite a bit, was always known as an uncommon kind of rare game, but because it was a sports game, nobody bought it. And then I guess people got wise here in like 2019, because even here you saw it had a bit of an increase with the nostalgia factor, but still being a $20 game is not too much. And then yeah, just over the past 3 years, it's gone crazy, and it looks like this caught my eye too. NFL Blitz has done the same, and this is what I mean. This is surprising that these games, like I expected them to have gone up more, but I also expected games like StarCraft and Harvest Moon 64 to have gone up more too. This one just took a massive jump over the past year to where it's like $100 game now. Before it was 40 or 30 or whatever, and then before that, this is the price I know, it was like $15 or whatever. But yeah, the N64 is well past the nostalgia factor phase now of collecting, and it just continues to keep going up, and in some cases some of these games are skyrocketing over the past year. Now a lot of this I think is due to the pandemic, people staying at home and collecting and selling more of their collectibles, and sales have obviously just gone through the roof across the board for that. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think could have caused, or if you do know what could have caused some of these big price hikes on some of these other games, and what games you think should have gone up in value. Like I talked about a few that I thought were pretty rare and undervalued, and some of those still are. Are there any games like that that you can think of? And if you liked this video and you want to see more like it, let me know about that too in the comments below. In the last video I did a Wii U one. I'll link it at the end here of the video. Someone mentioned about revisiting the Xbox 360, and I was thinking, you know what, I haven't really been following the 360 at all much lately, so maybe it's time to check in, see what's going on with the Xbox 360. Also, the PS3's one that I'd like to cover, because I know that a bunch of stuff has happened on the PS3 collecting scene, and there's been a few games that have really gone up in value, especially when the digital shop was going to close for the PS3. There was a sudden jump in the price for a lot of games, especially the exclusive ones. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Playas Guide. If you're not subscribed to the channel and if you made it this far through the video, please consider doing so for more content like this, and follow Playas Guide on Twitch for weekly retro gaming content nearly every night of the week. Come hang out and join us in the chat. And if you want to become part of the conversation, we have a Discord. There's a link below in the description so you can join that too.